Welcome to Roaming with Restless Women, real talk with wise, dynamic women leaders. I'm Julie Noonan, your host, CEO, and founder of Intuitive Wisdom Coaching, and I'm living my dream life. I live and work in my RV, coaching senior women leaders as they navigate corporate politics, family drama, and personal goals to live their own dream lives. These women are restless. They are never done seeking new opportunities, learning, and ways to create value in the world. If you'd like to apply to be a guest, stick around to the end of the show and I'll let you know how. So let's go. Welcome to this week's version of Roaming with Restless Women, real talk with wise, dynamic women leaders. I'm Julie Noonan, your host. And today we have Tabatha Jones. Tabatha is a career advancement coach. She is on a mission to help ambitious women achieve career success that they deserve. She, like some of you, once struggled with imposter syndrome, overworked herself to prove her worth, let perfectionism hold her back. She constantly asked herself, why aren't you there yet? We're our worst critics, aren't we? She had big dreams of earning a promotion, a salary boost, advancing to the executive level, but then found herself in the same project manager role for 10 years, taking on more and more responsibility, earning her degree, and striving for perfection still, hoping someone would notice her hard work. That didn't happen. Her breakthrough moment was when she realized that the key to her career advancement wasn't just hard work. It required confidence and strategy. She said, I had to stop waiting to be noticed, start advocating for myself, and get back into the driver's seat of my career. Through those lessons, now she helps other women achieve career results. So I am pleased to welcome you, Tabatha. I'm sure a lot of my guests are going to really want to hear what you have to say about career advancement. So welcome.
Thank you, Jolie. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and have this fabulous conversation today.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start out a little bit about your corporate journey. Tell me just in a nutshell your career journey from there until you had this realization.
I had been in corporate for a while, but I spent more than 20 years in leadership roles. You shared a bit of my story where I stayed in the project management role for 10 years. And with that title, took on so much responsibility. I was leading 3 separate teams of people, not project related. I was leading large projects. I was working on my degree. I was constantly thinking, what's happening right now? Why am I not getting this promotion? And when we went through a reorg, I had to reapply for my job and realized I was already doing more than the next level up. And I thought, hold the phone, we're not doing this anymore. Something's
Right.
not right. So applied for it, interviewed, was offered the role with a whole 4% pay increase after 10 years. And I said, oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. And I walked out. I didn't know about
Wow.
negotiating. I didn't know what was next. I just knew it wasn't that. And interestingly enough, I was pulled into the CFO's office very shortly thereafter. And she told me all the things that make me a valuable human being, which I was not articulating myself very well at the time, and asked me what it would take to make the offer more palatable. So I negotiated for a higher title to a senior manager, and I negotiated for a 19% pay increase. And from there, all the secrets of life just came flooding to me, right? It's all about confidence, visibility, and managed to land 4 promotions over the next 10 years by just changing my strategy and my way of being.
Absolutely. So
So,
tell me about when you say the flood of awareness came.
yeah.
Tell me about how that happened, how you knew it was your inner voice talking to you. Tell me a bit about that experience.
It really hit me as I was listening to this powerful female leader telling me all of the great things that I had done. It clicked that I should have been telling her that and explaining to her, this is why I deserve this additional amount of money. It really clicked with me that I had been working so hard for so long, just expecting someone else to take the lead in my journey and not ever really putting the pieces together that it's my journey to own. And had I realized, I probably would have saved myself about 8 years of frustration in those early days. But I was able to take that time to reflect and say, okay, what is it that makes me a catch, right? What is my measurable, quantifiable value to this company? Because I had never really stopped and taken the time to celebrate my achievements or to think about, yes, I led this huge project,
Uh-huh.
but doing that meant I was guiding 400 plus stakeholders through something really big, a huge transition. I was saving multiple millions of dollars for the company in expenses on the billing system side. When I
Wow.
sat down and started thinking about that, I was like, oh my gosh, why was I waiting for someone to tell me this? So that was a great lesson, but also helped a lot with the confidence because I'm like, oh my gosh, people are saying this to me. Obviously, I should be saying it to myself. And like I said, just really changed my way of being. So
Yeah.
shortly after that,
Uh-huh.
as part of the promotion cycle, we reorganized again 10 months later. And
Ah,
I applied for a director role. I was like, you know what? I'm ready. I mean, I've been doing the project manager title, but director
right.
almost work. So I applied and didn't initially get an interview. I was confident enough at that time to reach
Mm,
out to the hiring manager and have a really candid conversation about why I was qualified, what I had really been doing with a project manager title, because of course that wasn't on my HR record. And she said, "Oh my gosh, let's get you in here." So I was flown to Denver shortly after for an interview, and then promoted into that role. So the learning came slow initially, but once I had it down, it just made such a huge difference as I grew my career.
one of the things that occurred to me when you were describing how your leader was sharing how great you were and all the things that you had done, part of me was saying, was she sharing that and you weren't hearing it? Or was she not sharing it? Like from a leadership coaching performance management perspective, as a leader, one of my responsibilities has always been make sure the person understands how valuable they are. you know um so what do you think as far as your situation, not to bash anybody but just to
Oh,
say
no.
from a leader perspective?
Yeah. So it was my former leader's leader who had that conversation with me. So a little bit higher up the food chain.
Oh,
My own
okay.
leader had always told me, you're doing a great job. What's next for you? Those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
But she understood that I got bored really easily. So it was easy to say, oh, you look bored. Let me give you this thing. Oh, you look bored. Let me give you this thing. I'd
Okay.
say, as much as I love her, I felt like she had my best interest in
Mm-hmm.
mind, but also I worked really hard for her. I did a lot of
Yes.
things for our team that maybe wouldn't have been done the same way had I not been in that role. So what I learned from that is it wasn't her job to say, "Oh, you've done all these things, here's your promotion." It was my job to go to her and say, "Here are the accomplishments I've made, the contributions, the impact. What is it going to take to get to that next level?" And one thing we do as women especially is we'll go into our annual review period and we'll sit down with our hands folded and a smile on our face and just wait for what's coming. We
Yeah.
treat it like a parent teacher conference in school where the teacher just gives the download, you shake hands and you walk out. That is the absolutely wrong way to do your year end review.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we should be preparing and coming in with that quantifiable data, coming in with, these are the goals that I set for myself this year. This is what I achieved. This is what I need your support with next year.
Mm-hmm.
And driving that conversation, because there's so much more that we get out of it when we're in control.
Well, and it is your, like you said, it is your journey to drive, or your car to drive, for instance. But I think
Yeah.
we do, women in particular, we do surrender that power to other people out of a false sense of, I need to be humble.
Oh my gosh.
We're so used to being support. We're so
Mhm.
used to being in the background. And, this whole idea of older women being invisible is really it really hits me very, very hard. I just turned 61 this year. And when I got laid off, I was 57. Ageism right in my face. And it's almost like all of a sudden I was invisible when 2 years earlier or 3 years earlier, I was being recruited. So it's a hard thing to um, tie your self confidence in yourself, awareness and knowledge to everybody else's opinion. You need to have it in yourself, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Absolutely.
something that you said too is I'm Gen X. I think you're also Gen X,
I'm
based
on the
on what you just said.
cusp.
You're on the cusp, the cusp. We're going to call you Gen X. But
Okay,
I
thank
would
you.
say it's our generation and slightly into the next. But we were raised to keep your head down, work hard, somebody will notice. Don't be cocky, don't be boastful, don't be showing off, right? And now I'm telling women the exact opposite. It's almost impossible for a woman to be cocky, but we all the time are questioning ourselves or holding back. It's like, oh gosh, I don't want anyone to get upset with me or think I'm
Yeah.
bragging. Or I'll tell you what, your buddy Joe, who's the same age as you, is walking in that meeting and telling your boss all the great things he's done and probably taking credit for half of what you've done.
Oh,
It's,
yes.
but you're holding back because, oh, we don't want to make anyone feel bad. Or we talk about our team so much and my team
Mhm.
and my team, but forget all the great things you've done to lead and drive that team to success. So we have to get past that. As women, we
We
have
do.
got to stop worrying about what everyone thinks or what if they think I'm cocky, because the only way we can fight for ourselves and fight for our place is to show that confidence and come in strong.
So give me an example. So now are you running your own coaching company? Is that correct?
I am. So, kind of progressed through the
Mm-hmm.
company. We went through a last reorg in 2019 into a corporate structure. So I had employees across the country, 4 time zones, doing all the things. And I just kept thinking, gosh, I really want to take this coaching business full time. I love it. It's so fun and just make a change. And I was 50 coming in, well, 2019, I was 49. So we are coming into 2020. The reorg happened in January. I was thinking, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave in April, go do my thing. Well, we all know what happened in March of
Yeah.
2020. And I said,
Oh,
oh, we better
yeah.
pump the brakes. We better hold on, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed another year and helped my team get situated, helped my leaders grow. The 5 new leaders that were put under me in the new organization were very tactical. They were very much in the weeds. They were very much not leading their team. They were kind of part of their team, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So I spent that year elevating them, teaching them how to be leaders, how to be mentors, how to delegate, how
Mm-hmm.
to really get out of those weeds so that their team could feel more trusted and their teams could grow and we could have a really strong culture. So I was really proud of that and happy that I took that extra year to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to 2020 or 2021, I was 50, getting closer to the 51. And I told my husband in December, I said, it's time. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I'm giving my notice in April. And he's like, no, you're not. You have a great job. The money's great. I was like, yeah, but if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it?
Right. Exactly.
So that's what happened. And then in March of 2020, I gave my notice. We were all on Teams. My boss was in Massachusetts, choked on her water visibly on the screen because I gave 3 weeks notice.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a surprise. We told my direct reports next, and they were mostly all in tears.
Oh,
Just gave me some really great compliments. And I just said, I feel like I'm on the right path for myself right now. And, we stay in touch and have conversations. But yes, then fast forward into coaching. So now I work mostly with Gen X women who are ready to get positioned for usually career advancement, sometimes
mm-hmm.
job searches, but mostly career advancement. It led me to writing my book, Promotion Ready in 3 months. A lot of us make that mistake of thinking we need to get prepared when the job posts. We
Right.
don't. We need to prepare before the job posts, which you are, I'm sure, well aware of also from your career.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. So just helping those women get ready for that career advancement and trying to just elevate them and help them release that inner leader that sometimes hides a little bit.
Absolutely. And so give me an example of a couple of folks that were challenging to coach to that end.
Ooh, let's see. I would say Usually what happens is people come to me after they've been bypassed for a promotion. So that adds some emotion and some flavor,
Yes,
so to speak.
yes, yes.
So I have a client who was actually demoted. And the interesting thing is the demotion wasn't, it was considered lateral in the company, but basically taking her from people leadership to no direct reports, which to those of us who love to lead, that's our superpower and our thing. That feels really bad, especially when there's not a lot of information.
Well, in
And
most
she,
companies, that's the mark of moving up is getting
exactly.
people. Um,
Yeah.
unfortunately, unfortunately, one way or the other, a lot of technology companies now promote based on depth of knowledge as opposed to how many people get. Because if you don't want to lead people, but you do want to move ahead, how do you position for that, right? Especially when the companies don't promote based on, how deep your knowledge is. They promote based on how many people you've got on your team. That's an old
Yeah.
paradigm that I think we need to start pushing against. So
I
she
would
got
agree
she
with
got
you.
laterally demoted, basically, right?
Laterally demoted. That's the best
Okay.
way to say it. Okay. And then she was really putting a lot on herself because now she's training her new boss who got a position over her. She
Mm,
is beating herself up over a mistake that she made last year and was feeling a bit resentful because some things had gone on. Anyway, fast forward, we shifted the way she was doing things, helping her still stand out as a leader on her team, helping her get more visible and having conversations with people who could help her get her career back on track and move it
mhm,
forward. And having a conversation with the leader who was involved in the mistake that she had made, which this leader, when she spoke with him, said, "Thank you so much for doing that." She said, "I take full accountability." She had let go of the, it's not all my fault. I take full accountability. I
uh-huh.
really want to make sure that this isn't impacting our relationship going forward. And he reached back out to her and said, that was the best moment. I've always had a lot of respect for you. He said, but that really showed me what type of leader you are. So we worked through continuing this visibility, continuing building these relationships, and she is now being tapped for a role where she will be back into a people leadership position.
That's
So
great, especially if that's
it's
really what she wants to do,
it
you
is.
know.
She's leadership through and through.
Yeah.
She's worked so hard to get to that space. It just
Hmm.
felt really crappy, in the position she was in. And she held a lot of resentment. So we had to release
Yeah.
that. We had to find ways to have conversations with people who've had similar experiences and talk
Hmm.
about what really worked for them. So I'd say she was a little more difficult just because her mindset was kind of in a negative space. So
Oh,
bringing that
yeah.
to the positive, bringing forward her gifts and just getting her out of that comfort zone was so rewarding for all of us, really.
Well, that's great. That is awesome. That's a great example. Um, so what do you feel like is the most challenging position or the most challenging thing that a woman in a senior leadership position in a corporation um, goes through on a daily basis? What are some of the hard things that you hear about?
Mhm. The hard things, and no matter how well put together this person is on the outside, there is almost always a layer of imposter syndrome. Always that, do I really belong in this room? Or what if someone realizes I don't know as much as they do? Or what if I don't know the answer to that thing? So that is one of the hardest things. And I don't know if you experienced this when you started your own business, but I'm clear on when I feel impostery or felt it in the corporate world and had ways to work through it and recognize it. I didn't realize it as quickly when I started my own business that I was going through it again because we start comparing ourselves to
Oh,
other
yes.
coaches or to other entrepreneurs. And thankfully, I recognized it in time. It didn't take me down, but I could have done it sooner. We've got to work on our imposter syndrome and really hold it at bay because it can keep us stuck in positions we don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
The other piece, I would say, even for women in senior leadership roles, it is the constantly feeling like you have to prove yourself. You have to work harder than anyone else. You have to work longer hours than anyone else. You have to miss all the fun events that are outside this daytime role. So maybe, a golf event at that's a networking event or whatever it is, a lunch out with one of your mentors. We will put all that stuff aside because we need to work hard. We need to be seen at work. We need to be so I would say that's the other.
Yeah.
And that one a lot of times comes to calendar management and holding space for yourself and holding boundaries. And I don't think that ever goes away until you learn the strategies and get comfortable with delegating or saying, not today. Can you pick a
Right.
different day? Which you have to do.
So have you run into someone who seriously, seriously, seriously loves to do the work?
Mm.
Like they love to be that busy.
I have.
Yeah. So tell me about helping them realize that they do need these boundaries.
Yeah, I'm going to take one of my past employees actually because I worked with her right out of the gate as a coach. But definitely was in the weeds with her team all the time, getting into all the meetings. Kind of was in the way of the team a little bit when she first started working with me, and getting her to understand that your growth and your value isn't just right here. You're a leader. You need a team that respects you. You need to understand how to delegate. You've got to free time, whether it's to get to a networking event where you can meet people outside of your circle, or it's to go and work on your skills so you're ready for the next thing when it comes. I worked in the tech space in the telecom industry, so leading technical teams in the telecom industry. People are always shocked. They assume I came from HR. I'm like, HR wouldn't have me. Those people are all so nice.
Well, you're coming across very nice your own self. So there you go.
I'm fun. I don't know if fun always fits into HR. I'm just kidding. But, understanding that, you know, sh- you can lead technical teams without being the most technical person. They're not looking for one more technician. They're not looking for one more coder. They're looking for someone that can help tie them and what their work to the business. They're looking for someone that can help lay out what's their career path. If you're starting here, what's next? They're looking for someone who can remove gaps or get the budget when they need a piece of software. And once she realized this and worked through all of the things and then leveled up her team beneath her, she was on fire. I mean, that lady, they were able to create so much automation. They were able to reduce the number of errors. They were able to run projects so much faster because she finally was like, "Oh, I get it now. I can look at the big picture at the macro level and then fix the things on the micro level." I'm like, exactly. So it's just
Perfect.
that type of change. And so when we reorganized in 2019, she went under a different team with a senior manager title. She was promoted shortly after to director and shortly after that to senior director. So she's absolutely doing all the right things.
Perfect. So I have three questions that I ask at the end of every one of my interviews. But before I get to those three, I want you to talk to me a little bit about your book.
Okay. Well, I wrote one finally. It had been in my head and I just needed to get it out. So it's called Promotion Ready in 3 Months. It's the Women's
Yes.
Guide to Career Advancement. And I share some of these strategies to just help women get out of their own way. Stop waiting until the position posts to get ready. Start right now. And 3 months from now, you'll already be standing out. It's so much easier to get the
Yes.
job when you're already standing out as the ideal candidate.
Mhm.
And for our Gen X friends, this stuff works. It's getting visible, it's bringing your voice into the room. It is a very strategic method of organizing yourself, your thoughts, your brand, and making things happen. So,
That's
very excited to help impact careers and hear some great stories from women who are implementing these strategies.
absolutely. Okay, so here's my first big question. Well, it's kind of not a question, but if you will close your eyes
Okay.
And describe the picture that appears when I say wise woman, and then open your eyes and tell me about her.
Oh my gosh, it's my great grandmother that I see when I think of a wise woman. So she was full Cherokee on the reservation in Oklahoma, migrated to California with my great grandfather. And I feel like she was wise in the fact that she did things that a lot of women in her time didn't do. A lot of women stayed in the reservation land. A lot of women stayed where they were comfortable, but she made a big choice and a big decision to come out and live her life and create my grandmother and the rest
Yeah.
of the family. I do wish I
Yeah.
had gotten to know her more. Of course, she passed when I was really young, but that's who I see.
Oh, that's beautiful. So where do you like to roam?
Oh, I like to roam anywhere that there are waves. So any
You
beach,
sound like me. Yeah.
any beach. We were actually just at Dillon Beach on the North Coast, Sunday and Monday. It's just the calming, relaxing, just getting your feet in the sand, and anywhere I can take my dog is better. So I've got the dog and the waves. I'm happy.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And what makes you restless in a good way?
Oh, in a good way is just knowing that I'm making change in the world, that there is at least one woman who will interact with me some way today and make some type of a shift, whether she comes to work with me or she just takes a nugget from a conversation. Just knowing that I'm having an impact on somebody's life every day is what makes me restless in a good way.
Well, I can second that emotion right there myself.
So good.
Okay, so folks, if you are looking to get some advice on how to position yourself so that you stand out before that next promotion opportunity happens, now you know who to call. You need to talk to Tabatha Jones. And also, if you wanted to pick up her book, is it available on Amazon?
It's available on Amazon.
There you go. And say the name of it one more time.
It is promotion ready in 3 months, the Women's Guide to Career Advancement.
There you go. Now we get the visual. I like the
The
visual at the
visual.
end. I love the visual at the end. Well, thank you so much, Tabatha. It has been a great pleasure, and I think you are totally onto something for sure, especially with the Gen X population.
Thank you, Julie. This has been so fun.
Great. Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they mean a lot to me, my team, and most importantly, my restless guests. As a special gift to you, our listeners, I offer a free one-on-one 15-minute breakthrough session. Bring a problem and experience how coaching works to see if it could be of value to you. Sign up for an available time on my website, intuitivewisdomcoach.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.